So we've had a little bit of snow here, as you can see. Not really managed to get out for a flight, but it's thawed out a bit now. So um, I'm trying out a new camera because I made that little mod to my Hubsan just so I can change cameras and other bits and pieces. I've decided I don't really like the way this transmitter works either. I don't know if it's the frequencies it's on or whether my antenna's damaged, but I'm gonna try swapping that out and try something else. I mounted this camera as well, and I know it's probably not going to be the greatest for seeing it, and I will shut up in a minute and just let the video run through. But I mounted it within, all around it, with vibration absorbing foam, trying to see if it will make much difference to the jello. Now I only go up about sort of 60 meters tops, just because of where I am and the antennas I'm using. Especially, there's so much playing around to do for testing different antennas, but where I am and the antennas that I'm using, because I'm using those pagodas, and when I go high above me, of course I start losing the signal, because that's the pagoda weak spot. You want to be at a bit of a distance. They're 5 dBi as well, so if you can imagine, that chocolate orange type thing, and that's the way the signal radiates out of it, like a chocolate orange going out. But at 5 dBi, it's more of a compact, pressed down, squished chocolate orange, so it will go further distance. But of course, that bit in the middle, it's not very good for radiating the signal out there. So the higher I go, the more awkward it is for the signal. But it's just interesting to see. One, you can see how foggy it is still, and how thawed it is compared to the picture of a couple of days before. It's just interesting to see what it's actually like. What the actual difference is through the jello side. Now I know on the other camera, camera that I was using, you could hardly tell. And there's a difference I noticed about that camera as well. This camera is a £20 camera that I've put in. Maybe it's just a little smidge over £20, depending where you buy it from. It's a Runcam Sparrow. There are adjustments I can make to its exposure and bits and pieces and dynamic range, and it's a CMOS still, so it's not going to be as good for things like jello as a CCD. But there's, over the coming year, this next year coming, there's going to be lots of different experiments just to see what things are like. I've lost my track of thought. But yeah, so it's just going to be a case of just playing around with these. And yeah, and the two other cameras that I've tried before, one I put into that little Cyma. Now what I found out is that £6 camera that I put into my Cyma is better than the £10 camera that had better specs. I bought it from the same place. Our beloved friends in China, Banggood. So that's been interesting for me, because I thought going from the £6 camera to the £10 camera, there'd actually be a positive. But it turned out £6 camera I prefer. I just thought it had a sharper image. This one I quite like. It's not bad. It'll be interesting to see what it does on a sunny day. It's as standard setup, and I noticed with my OWL camera, my ZMR frame, that I had to make quite a few adjustments to that to get it to work nicely. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the sun's out with this one. I don't know if you can see with my RSSI, I think I may have snagged the antenna. I'm not sure. I would have to do some playing around with that and just see if I can get that to work a bit better. But this is the good thing, you see. I get little flights in like this at this area, and I get to see what's going on, RSSI and bits and pieces, and how much at whatever altitude. And when I change things around and play around a bit and then take it back out again, I've got this to reference to, so I can see again at the same sort of altitude, same sort of distance out, what the RSSI was doing. And this is why I want those things on there, so I can see what's going on. But anyway, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm playing around with it. It's freezing. Well, it's not freezing cold, but it's been cold. and it's just a little play around. Now there was a little bit of footage before this, and there was a little bit of footage afterwards, because this is my second battery. I've got 3 batteries with me. The last battery I was going a bit, not yampy, but just going a bit higher, did some skydiving bits, and I might put that up a little bit later. But unfortunately for me, playing around, my computer has got 11 hard drives, right? A few of those are logical, and the other ones are physical drives. And on my Windows side, on my solid state drive on Windows, I've managed to bugger it up, so I've got all that to fix. Not the 11 drives, they're fine, and I did panic. I thought I'd lost those because Windows didn't shut down properly, it didn't shut down the drives, so even on the Linux system, which is what I'm using now, wouldn't let me access the drives unless I set them all to read only, which, oh my life, that would cause me some problems. But I've managed to get them to be accessible again. But now I've got to go and fix my Windows operating system and try and get all that working. So I'm just going to leave you this footage, and I'm going to sit and scratch my head and think about what I'm going to do about Windows 10 and getting it to work in, because I need that, because to configure loads of different bits and pieces within software, I need the Windows system. It's not so easy to do it with the Linux system, because I know you can do it, but it's a bit of a ball ache when you've got to set up all your drives and bits and pieces. It can be a little bit of a task. If any of you guys out there use Linux and you use Zadig drivers and bits and pieces, you'll know that it can be a bit of a ball ache, and you are better off just having a dual boot system or multiple boot system, one of those operating systems on there to be Windows, because it's plug and play, isn't it? So it does make life a bit easier, but that plug and play side of it means that when it does go wrong, it can be a little bit of a challenge to get it right, especially when you put in a installation disk, and even that says it can see what the error is and tells you what the error is, but for some reason, even though it knows what the error is, it still can't really fix it. So it's going to have to be a manual job. There you go. And talking about manual, this is in manual mode. You see how steady this thing can be in manual mode. It's not bad, you know. It's not bad, but you don't want that self-centering stick. That's why I've gone to the painstaking trouble of adjusting this, so I can actually have manual mode without the self-centering stick. Because with the self-centering stick, that thing will be up and down all over the place. And of course now I'm doing my pinching as well. It's not exactly pinching up the sticks. You know, up until very recent I've been using just thumbs on my sticks, but now I've started pinching. And even though it's not really pinching, it's like a hybrid between pinching and thumbs. Because all I'm doing is I'm resting my thumbs on my sticks as usual, and then putting my index fingers on the front of the sticks. So it's, to be pinching, you'd have your index fingers on the back end of the stick, your thumb on the back end of the sticks, and the index fingers on the front of the sticks. That's pinching. But I'm doing a mixture of in between, of using my thumbs and pinching. On my ZMR frame, it's pretty good because I don't have to use the stick so much. I don't have to push so far up on the stick to get going. Where this one, I've got to go like 50% of the stick. Hasn't really getting me anywhere. I've got to go at least sort of 70% of the stick to really get going. And pinching, you don't get full range so much, or at least I'm not getting full range so much. My hands are quite big, so I don't know if that's anything to do with it. But on this little hybrid pinching and thumbs, it is a lot easier. I can push out to full range, but I'm still getting used to it, so I'm still a little bit shaky and whatever. There we go. It's still good fun. This Hubsan's alright. It's not bad. I like the looks of it. I've always liked the looks of it. I think it looks quite sleek, and I do like the looks of it. There we go. Right, I'm going to leave you to the rest of the video, and enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.